Good morning. It's a pleasure for me to be here to participate within that meeting. Today I'm going to tell you a few words about my perspective as a civil servant, how the smart city look like today, how it was a couple of years ago, and a few words about how I see future, obviously from the perspective of a civil servant. It seems to me that I'm only one from the public sector here, because I'm only one who has the tie here. So it's good. Ladies and gentlemen, I found that sort of chart on the website describing what smart city is, actually. And on the chart you can have also the name of the projects which we implement in the city of Warsaw. Even though I am and I was partly involved in at least half of them personally, I'm not going to speak about them. I'm going to speak about what we can do from the public sector, what we can do to increase the possibility to have those innovations in the city. First of all, our approach has been changed. Approach toward our citizens, which means that we increase the number of public consultations. According to our legislation, we are obliged to consult with the citizens the master plans, the plans related with the special planning. It's obvious that before we implement that legislation, we have to publish the map and speak with the people. But a few years ago, we came to the conclusion that it's better to consult with the people many issues beforehand, before the problems appears really. So consequently, we increase the number of public consultations. Apart from that, we also put a lot of stress on participatory budgeting, which means that we're trying to involve citizens in the process of decision making. Last year, more than 2,000 projects were submitted by our citizens, which is quite a success. We organized a lot of meetings, more than 70 meetings, conferences, seminars, small seminars to show the people how to prepare the project. More than 170 private consultation, how to prepare a project in order to be submitted and selected. Our success is that nearly 170,000 inhabitants actually voted to select projects. So, which means that 10% of our inhabitants were directly involved in the process of decision making. 300 projects were selected and 26 millions were distributed to that projects. This year, we doubled that budget. Next year, approximately 100 million Polish zlotys will be allocated to that process. It's not easy to engage citizens in that process. You have to do something. You have to organize the meetings, you have to be with the people, you have to organize the process of consultation. If you give the citizens a thick document asking them what do you think about, you receive different opinions and it wouldn't be fruitful for you. So you have to organize that, you have to be with the people, you have to make an agreement with them, because afterwards our projects, our idea would be more effective. If you speak about how the beaches should look like in the center of the city, how people feel about spending the time by the beach, you have to go there, you have to organize consultations out there, and then analyze the voices. Also, when you want to speak with the parents, you have to go out there. You have to speak with them near the places they actually visited with children, near the playgrounds, for instance. If you organize parks, you have to ask them where the benches should be located, where the paths should be located, and the trees as well. That process we actually started 2 years ago on a full scale, and it seems to us that it's really fruitful. At the beginning, districts, local governments, because cities organized like that there's a mayor and 18 districts. The local mayors were a little bit opposing about that, but at the end we engaged them and it's really fruitful. If you want to organize the playgrounds, speak with the children. Have a feedback from them. In the chart you've got the sort of way how the different issues were sorted out a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Let me give you more deeply that example. There was a problem at the place we organized for the citizens with disabilities. And the process of inquiring looked like that the person went to the NGOs representing that association, then those associations send a letter to the member of the parliament, then the member of the parliament send a letter to the government, then the government send a letter to the mayor of the city, then the mayor of the city finally wrote me a note, and then I asked the person responsible for that infrastructure to sort out the problem. Any guesses how long does it take, this whole process of distributing information among institutions? Any guesses from you? Even more, a couple of months. Everybody were happy, but we sort out the problem within 2 days. 2 days. We figure out what was the problem. It was a small problem because somebody just switched off the system of information about the numbers in the queue. So it was simply, and it took us 2 days, including answer all of those people involved in the process. That sort of management is not effective, and I'm sure I don't have to argue about that with you and convince you. So what we did within the last months. Last year on the full scale we implemented the one number, 19115. And we ask people to complain. And people do this. There are a few things you have to be sure in Poland, in Warsaw, that people complain. And they do. So we have to use that opportunity to increase the quality of citizen life. 300,000 notifications during the last year. 1,000 a day. And the system, we organized the system of call center in the city. So we get all those information. First line, sometimes we answer the questions to the citizens directly, but there is a second line in all departments responsible for answering. The most important thing is just to give them feedback. Give the feedback to the citizen as soon as it's possible and sort out the problem. But there is other advantage of that. We have first-hand information what is going on in the city and what are the real problem of the citizens, so that we could concentrate on that elements in future. The other element we implement is open data. Open data for everybody to use for everybody. This is a constant process we implemented so that SMEs, citizens, activists can use those data to give us advice, to see how we manage the city. That makes us a good background for improvement. The other perspective which has been changed is the evidence-based policy. Before we submit the money, before we spend the public money, we have to establish the indicators. In that case, there is a map related with the social problems, related to the children. Very precisely, we delimitate the areas of intervention and then ask non-government organizations to sort out the problem, and also we put the indicators as the obligations to fulfill. And then we monitor the effects of that intervention so that even if after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, even if we wouldn't be effective, we know why, and we can improve the quality of that service. Now I'm going to tell you a few words about the project, Virtual Warsaw, project which was mentioned beforehand. Virtual Warsaw is the project which is related to the people with visual impairments. In other words, blind or partly blind. First, there was a story about the person who inquired, I'll show you about. It takes a couple of months and we sort it out within 2 days. But that makes me thinking about the other possibilities to sort out the problems. I mean, switching on the louder speaker who say the number of the queue is not the solution. So we were thinking about, is it a possibility to implement sort of GPS in indoors? We were looking for a different technology, asking people if they know something about that, what were the possibilities. We went to the university, technical university here in Warsaw. Then suddenly we came up with the technology implemented by Apple, beacons. We were digging and finding somebody who knows something about that. We put it on the table a little bit more than 1 year ago. And originally we were thinking about having that system in one place, just the indoor navigation in the center dedicated to people with disabilities. And we obviously did it. But then makes me thinking about that technology could have more impact. Why we ask ourselves questions. Why don't we change the whole city towards that group? We could at least increase the quality of life of that people. And we started to speak with the people with disability, with visual impairments, see how they look like, what the problem they have. And imagine yourself sitting alone in a city, completely blind. If you want to go to the other place of the city, you have to have a personal assistant. It usually takes you approximately 100 hours to know by heart all the way to one place, new place. You've got barriers in getting a job, and all of those barriers you know about. So we were thinking about whether that technology could help that group of people. We speak with them, we did a close research, and we decided to prepare the project. There was a great competition, Mayor's Challenge. We had a successful story through that, a couple of levels of that competition, and finally we got the 1 million euro for that. The project consists of 2 elements: support system which concentrate on the people, blind people with visual impairments, to get a job, to get to know the technology, subsidies for those who have problems with getting mobile or tablet or wherever. Then the micro-navigation system covering all the public transport, all public institutions when it comes to the indoors navigation, and also the places related to the leisure time activities. That consequently will increase the independence of blind people and increase the quality of their life. And obviously what was very important for us, and what is important, is to be in a constant touch with the beneficiary, with people visually impaired. And in the screen you can see the sentences they said about the project, about the implementation, how they feel. The application is available on the Apple Store and the Google Play. We already have implemented that system in one of the bus line, 178. It works like that if you enter the bus, you have all the information. Where is the bus, where to go out, and that sort of things. The other element, the next steps of our project is to cover the leisure activity. We are about to finish the first version at the end of June, and then the long phase of tests till the end of September. And basing on those three pillars, implementation, we build the system in the whole city. It's difficult to find that kind of examples around Europe, around the world. There are some. This year is just for collecting information, how the system should look like. Within the next 3 up to 4 years, we are going to establish the system which correspond with nearly 500,000 IT devices, first beacons and then probably other devices. But this year is for consultation, for having feedback from different people, different institutions, what would be the other function of the system. So I would like to thank those who were participating within the workshops yesterday and the day before. That kind of meetings and events are really fruitful for us because we're looking for experience, we're looking for information, feedback, hints, in which direction we should go. For blind people, people with visual impairments, it's good. I mean, we had a dream. In that dream is that the people who walk down the street have information that he just passed the theater, even though he can't see it. Have it in your mobile, in a gently way, and a possibility to buy a ticket. Some of those people says that it's difficult for them even to find the entrance to the certain shop or a building. And imagine somebody knocking on the wall, finding the way. They just don't do this. Doesn't look nice, isn't it? That kind of information also we would like to have in our system. Now we're facing different problems. Many beacons around the city. How we can use that system, not only for blind people, but also for tourists, newcomers, our citizens. The question is open till the end of this year, because next year we are going to start the implementation on a full scale. A lot of people says 1 million euro is not enough to implement such a system. I say it's enough to start the rebel. Within 6 months after we get information from Bloomberg, from New York City, that we were selected as a winner, we get 10 times more money for the implementation. So we are able at the moment to implement the project on the full scale. It was a little bit more than 1 year ago when we, nearby here, were sitting in a small room thinking about that project. And after 1 year, we almost implement the pilots, and we are facing I think one of the biggest projects, IT projects at least in Warsaw, perhaps in Poland. Everybody are asking about our experience, and we are also looking for other experience from other cities, other people, to get that, because in the nearest time there will be a lot of beacons somewhere around located, and a lot of different functionality might be implemented also in the city. At the moment we're thinking about the parking spots. How about finding free parking spots and then go directly to the place you know it's not occupied, and then have the full payment for that place. And etc., etc. Every time I speak about it with different people from different institutions, the ideas came up, which is very good, which make us thinking that the project goes in the right direction. Although it's risky, and I know that among you, you've got ideas which were frozen, which were not put into the life because of it wasn't a possibility to commercialize that. And the public sector is the sector which can consume that ideas, develop it in the partnership, because our main aim is the quality of life of the people. So if you've got such an idea here in Warsaw, we are open for your suggestions to build up partnerships. Not only my department, I'm responsible for social policy, family policy, policy dedicated to disabilities, senior policy, social affairs policy, which makes the budget, annual budget, approximately 1 billion Polish zlotys a year, annually, 250 million annually, euros. And I see a lot of possibilities for innovation, for improvements. And having such a budget, even a small improvements, give us a chance to implement innovative projects. So if you've got good ideas, please join us. Thank you.